Uh-oh. That's not going to go well.
So,
Just sit right down, tap it out.
we all know, smoking pot makes you stronger and faster.
I am an idiot.
Not
But
talking
every once in a while, I shine.
There's a gal out there that has a leg.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see it.
I was looking forward to touching myself to the very end.
I'm a pacifist mostly, so I don't know what you're talking about. You didn't finish it? Give it
Oh,
to me.
hell no.
God damn! Introduce us. Do your thing.
Okay,
What is this podcast called?
Hot sauce.
Hot Sauce.
Hot sauce.
Welcome back to Hot Sauce. I'm Ben.
I'm Paul.
Special guest Paul Corsi.
Hey.
Golf clap.
Hi, everybody.
Still Scott.
Still James.
All right.
and the beard's back.
And the beer's
And
back.
the
So
beer
the
is
logo
back.
worked.
You know it's
The logo's
hockey
back,
season.
the beer
The
go
beer
away.
is back.
It did. It went away.
It's been a while.
Shaved it, yeah.
Wow.
Dyed it blue and then I shaved it.
All right.
Well,
Well,
talk about that one.
yeah, we don't go there.
It
It's,
wasn't pretty.
he was having a moment.
Just during the election then?
We're going to call him Elliot now.
There was drinking in
Elliot Page.
Elliot Page. Thank you. Already starting off wrong.
All right.
All right.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. Obviously, hockey season is not on right now. We finished that up, and all four of us are not currently playing thanks to this awesome virus. So we're going to talk about a whole lot of other stuff that has a whole lot to do with hockey, probably up front. We've got several topics, including sports from the last week, if you want to call it that. We had to watch, a couple of spoiled YouTube rich kids fight. Box, if you want to call it that. I do want to talk about Mike Tyson. I thought Mike Tyson looked, is extraordinary for a guy who's 53 years old.
I love the fact that he came right out and said I smoked pot right before the match. Because I was high and it felt good.
Which everybody should, if we are going to talk sports, we should talk about the NBA
Yeah, he's a
decriminalized or doing no tests at all throughout the season. No surprise tests now for marijuana in the NBA. I read that on Twitter
The
today.
NBA is still a sport?
Right, I did. Is that, I'm not sure, is that a water polo league?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Private
saw
league?
Some article or was out there the other day, they were showing some guy for the Celtics that was getting traded, and it looked just like Marchand. I'm like, no, he couldn't play basketball either.
Oh, well, he's the same height as Nate Jackson, who got knocked out this weekend. But
It's amazing how many people in the NBA have the same last name now.
yeah, well. Anyway, before we
I'm not sure if that's offensive or not, but
really,
really.
before we go too
I
deep
find
into
it
that,
inoffensive.
we are in Idaho, and I apologize. But on that same note, to go back to the marijuana thing, was that I also saw today that there was, through the House it passed, Republicans and Democrats both voted to decriminalize federally marijuana. So we'll see if that makes it through the big T before it gets out. But
Oregon's
anyway.
like, that's weak sauce.
yeah, or he's like, I'm already smoking it. You guys are late to the party, right? So interesting though. Yeah, so I'll be interested to see what happens with that in particular, because that's been a big sticking point in pro sports for so long, is marijuana, right? I mean, not so much hockey because, all we do is beat up our wives, but, it's in big sports like NBA, football, those sports, people get suspended still for marijuana use. So,
Well, I was in Texas when Ricky Williams was coming through. And so, my buddy was like assigned to him.
Yeah.
So, I got to visit with him quite a bit, and that guy smoked weed just because he was stressed out with all of the public that comes with being the number one running back in the country for UT.
sure.
So he was.
I mean, really, can you call him the trendsetter for this thing? I mean.
Well, I think you use it as a blocking scheme. When that cloud of smoke is 6 yards in front of him, people are dropping like flies as they run down the field. That's why he had a rushing record, in my opinion. I mean, he was
so good.
it took a while, but yeah.
Oh my God.
We all know, smoking pot makes you stronger and faster.
Mm.
Right. Imagine if he was sober.
Well, oddly enough, I was reading an article about Bruce
I
Lee
think
today.
you can.
Apparently, Bruce Lee was a huge dope smoker, and he said it just helped him relax
Sure.
to kick people's asses. I mean, it seemed to work. He still is clocked as having the fastest punch in history. So.
When you're saying things like, when you focus on the, what's the line where he says, don't focus on the finger, you miss the, no? Nobody?
All
I
right.
need a reference where you're going with this.
Yeah, right, yeah, you need to start with, we're talking about Bruce Lee saying this?
Yeah, if you focus on the something, you miss the glory of the something. People are gonna just.
All right, there's gonna be a lot of comments on this, we look
Yeah.
forward to your
Yeah, we got
comments.
look forward to
Yeah.
it. Straighten Ben out.
Yeah, the phone lines are open.
Yeah.
So
You got in
anyway,
trouble for that on the first one. I got, somebody said they called me when they watched the podcast. I didn't answer. So.
And you were
sure.
sleeping.
they're open. We may not answer them, but their phone lines are open. So anyway, but so I mean, obviously marijuana is gonna be a bigger player, in the next, couple seasons, and I think it'll be completely decriminalized in the next 5 years and not be an issue in sports.
Well, a lot of the players are
So-
already using it, so I
Right.
don't think it's gonna make a big impact on the
Right.
sport, other than them not getting in trouble, like having to miss games, suspensions, things like that.
It'll come out at some point that it helps fight off COVID, and then it's all over. So
I don't know, it's gonna be, it's gonna be one of those things where the owners and stuff are gonna find a way, if I can find a way to get money back from you, because you did something wrong,
Right.
then I'm gonna be able to
it'd be a
do it.
contractual issue, right?
Right, yeah.
Hey, before we go too far though, we have to talk about our 2 bourbons tonight, because that's one of our key points in our podcast is what the drink of the night is. And so we have 2. I'll let you 2 guys introduce them since you brought them.
Also, the comments and feedback that I've been getting from the 7 people that watch this, they would like to know more about the bourbons that we're drinking.
They're good. There you go.
And so I'll start off.
Please
The
do.
bourbon that I brought today, I know absolutely nothing about. I just like the label.
There's a bunch of stuff about it right here, go ahead.
What is it called?
I've been known to buy bottles just because the cork is cool looking.
This one is Legend,
Legend.
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 Legent.
and it has somebody's hair on the back.
Which is
There you go.
weird. Not real hair, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a little weird.
It's like a painted
If
label.
I get a hair in my glass, I'll complain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then the other bottle that we're looking at here is called Smoke Wagon. It's an uncut, unfiltered, straight bourbon whiskey. It's technically a blend, and they gave it a pretty good rating on the interwebs. And they also said that it was their favorite blend that was out on the market today. And it goes at a 57.7% by volume. So it's a uncut, unfiltered, and very strong bourbon.
And it's quite tasty. I'm having that straight right now.
I haven't tried it yet.
That's quite good, actually. If I do say so my damn
I
self.
started with Ben's, and I feel that it's quite good.
Yeah, I'm certainly.
It's oaky.
It is. It's got that, it's finished in, what they say?
Sherry cask.
Sherry cask. So
Yeah.
you kind of get that at the end.
So it does have a Scotch feel to it, but it's still sweet like a bourbon.
Yeah, it's quite good.
So that's what we got going on tonight, which is good. And then, of course, to rinse it all down, a little cerveza in between. So, but we'll keep trying them. So if anybody's got any ideas out there what they want us to try that's within a reasonable price range, because we're not sponsored yet. that'd be-
Unofficial sponsored by Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
best a man can get? No,
Yeah.
that's something else.
Maybe in the bathroom with you. Anyway. So moving right along. So if we're going to stay in sports that don't include a hockey puck, we can go and talk about the young lady that kicked for college football this weekend. What was her name again?
Wait. Before we get into that, we gotta get into the name of this podcast,
Oh, hot sauce.
Hot Sauce.
Hot sauce.
Yeah.
So for the
That was
people
bringing
who,
something up about that.
so the people who didn't, like, I've gotten questions about that too. So sauce in hockey is like short for sauce or pass. Hot, we add a hot feature to every one of these podcasts where we eat a hot food. And so for this one, like the last one, we had the pizza from Flying Pie, the habanero one. And before that, we had, what did we do?
Those buffalo wings.
We did the wing thing.
Buffalo wings of death.
So this time,
Still can't shit right.
what I've got in, it's one single chip.
Oh, I've heard horror stories.
So there you go. This is,
The
how do you pronounce this?
No mercy.
Manny Pacquiao?
Becky.
Inside is one extremely hot tortilla chip, Carolina Reaper and Sichuan heat.
Sichuan.
Jesus Christ.
Wow, these are really fancy.
This looks oddly like a
So
casket.
what's fun about this is James is really good with hot food.
Do not eat if you're sensitive to spicy food. So are you eating mine for me?
Where's your knives?
What kind of knives?
Sharp.
Kind of cut
Connect
people.
one more drawer over.
Yeah.
Welcome.
After touching the chip, wash your hands with soap and water, and do not touch your eyes or sensitive areas.
Oh.
I know what they mean by that.
I was looking forward to touching the sensitive area.
If you have difficulty breathing, fainting, or extended nausea, you're supposed to seek medical attention. I am somewhat.
Now that you all bring me into here.
Yeah.
So what to expect? Made with Carolina Reaper pepper, scorpion pepper, and Sichuan peppercorn. This chip was created for the sheer pleasure of intense heat and pain. All right, sounds like marriage.
I'm getting the pressure.
Round one is a spicy punch to the tongue. Round two is a fiery jab to the face.
Fiery jab to the
No.
face.
Round three is
I got
impaired
some
vision from
powder.
tears. Round four is a low blow to the gut. Round five is the knockout.
Okay.
Is that all bites?
No, I think we just put the whole thing in your mouth.
Yep.
Well, so what's funny about this is they talk it up much like a boxing match. And as soon as we eat this, we're going to talk about the fiasco of a boxing match that happened this past weekend with one of the Paul sisters and Nate Jackson.
Women in sports is big on this one.
Yes, I'm sorry if that's a sexist comment. I apologize. Don't cancel me.
What do you mean sexy?
It's dead sexy, baby.
It's sexy.
All right. How long can you last before throwing in the towel? Eating or drinking anything would be throwing in the towel.
Would it be appropriate to throw in the towel now?
Right?
No.
Right?
No.
Sacrifice.
So eating or drinking anything afterwards is
So
considered throwing in the
you're
cup?
supposed
If you
to
can
go an
last
hour.
for 5 minutes, you're a featherweight. If you last 10 minutes, you're a lightweight. 30 minutes, you're a middleweight. An hour plus, you're a heavyweight.
I'll have to put a ticker on the computer.
Let's be honest, I'm just gonna go featherweight because I'm not gonna not drink.
Right, okay.
So-
Alcohol doesn't count.
Yeah.
We got
so
a-
that's,
You got a can around here in case.
I'm just
that
gonna put
happens.
this up here now because you know that's happening.
There's some waters back here too, if somebody gets to
I'm
that.
gonna be able to run to the sink, that's all I want to be able to make sure we get there.
Yeah, and there's stuff to wash your hands and whatnot there as well.
Blow chunks here early on these bad boys.
Very scary when they put skeletons and skulls. and stuff.
And it's all in cellophane,
That's right.
Really?
so the
For the
oil,
forest
oh,
for-
it's black.
I think
Yeah.
my chip is too big.
Not
I
only
bet you
that,
haven't heard that before.
That's
No.
what she said.
oh,
God.
break it up.
Dang it.
Look at that thing.
You got yours out in one piece, eh?
Yeah.
Mine's only coming in one little tiny piece. Why is
All
that?
right, this is gonna suck.
Woo, that smells like
So.
a tire.
Apparently
I'm gonna drink before I have
it
it.
doesn't taste
Oh my-
much better either.
Yeah, we got kind of a black bean.
Ben, where do you find all this shit? I mean, we're being honest.
The World Wide Web.
Huh.
It's
On the line,
I think it's gonna catch on.
Don't believe everything that you read on the internet.
it's on Wikipedia.
No,
Where I wrote it.
No, I think this World Wide Web is gonna take off at some point.
Yeah, this is not gonna be good.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
All right, here we go.
Did you just throw the whole chip in?
No,
I
God,
really
you
got
scared the
to.
shit out of me.
You're really doing white, eh? Ah, come on, put the whole thing in, you pansies. This is gonna suck.
Don't breathe in. Or out.
Just sit right now, tap it out.
You know, Dumb and Dumber? Oh, kind of tingly.
No, that's just.
Yeah, I'm not
Look at the hiccups.
Ooh.
I'm done. Oh,
Mhm.
that didn't last long. Oh. All right, so you won't see me the rest of the podcast. I'm in the back.
the worst part is my tongue is burning.
My lips, it's heating up my lips right now.
Hey
Ladies.
Siri, set my alarm for 5 minutes. Yep. Excuse me. Uh-oh. That's not gonna go well.
So, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Whoa.
Man, this is hot.
No.
That tastes terrible and it's freaking hot.
Oh, I didn't think it tasted terrible.
There, go. Yeah.
So Scott, let's hear your rendition about this boxing match that went on. Oh, my lips are
Whoa.
freaking burning.
I'm crying.
I am sweating.
Oh, this is gonna suck.
My face is getting hot.
Oh, I'm crying. Oh, my.
He's crying.
Oh. So sad.
Running.
God damn.
Yeah, it's got some heat to it.
Nope.
Holy shit. Let's start with these. I need you some milk if you want it.
Okay.
Anybody need milk?
I'm good.
Holy shit.
I did watch a video on these things.
I don't think that's,
And the guys that were hiccuping were throwing up later.
That's a good sign. The Mexicans say that the water just spreads it around. You want milk or sugar.
Yeah.
sugar.
Thanks, brother.
The other guys were saying, going sweet and sour.
Yeah.
Usually something that's
Doing
sweet,
like,
lemon juice.
Sour Patch Kids or some shit.
Oh, yeah.
Tingly.
But they said if you got past like 10 minutes, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
10 minutes was your max.
All right, so that's just hot. I'm just gonna say, I know I'm not on the screen, but holy shit.
Something not hiccuping though.
James is in the background mixing up concoctions to get rid of the pain.
Oh,
That works, let me know.
The corners of my mouth are lit up.
the tongue is a little bit hot.
Unpleasant.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it comes back.
Yeah.
This Manny Pacquiao was a dick. Oh, you get a free bag.
Just what I need. Well, it's getting awfully quiet.
I feel like my face might be bleeding, so.
As everybody's trying to breathe.
Oh, come on back. We got to talk about this female kicker.
Oh, yeah.
All right, just make sure none of the chips fall to the floor. We have
Right.
a dog that.
Yeah. That dog's
We'll
probably
probably die
smarter
from
than
that.
the other.
Dragging his ass on the carpet. Oh. Although,
Shit.
warning, it hurts like hell.
Good stuff.
Why?
It hurt like hell. It's just awkward. Spicy.
Said the guy who's crying.
Ah. All right. Cry. Pain don't hurt.
Right. Pain don't hurt.
That's right. So we had a female kicker in college.
Did we decide what school she was playing for?
I thought it was like Wake Forest or one of those black and gold teams.
I thought it was Tulane, but I could be wrong. Anyway, so
Kicker.
this young lady. does
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt.
Black and gold. Good call.
Thanks.
So she does her kickoff, which was historical.
Now, this is just,
No.
that was a kickoff, not a
So-
field goal.
Yeah,
Not an extra
well,
point, correct.
First
It-
things first, did she practice with the team? Did she make the team?
Yeah, they've been working out. They've been working out.
Yeah.
And the kick was historical. I will say that.
So it went about 30 yards. And the big debate
Really?
then, yeah.
25 in the air.
So the big debate was it a squib kick?
It was after she kicked it.
So the coach obviously came out and said that was a planned squib kick, although it was a first half kickoff, or second half kickoff.
He also got fired
Really?
after the game.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah, he's no longer with.
Not for that, obviously, though. Well, we hope.
They're horrible.
Yeah, well. So, but then the question is, there's a couple points I want to talk about on this one. So, super for her, good that you got out there, kicked in a male-dominated sport, but really, what is the point?
Right.
So, I struggle with this, and when I talk to people about it, I want to know if I have no issues with women doing things that men are doing and vice versa. What I have a problem with is trying to integrate those sports. So I don't mind if there's a women's football league. Good for them. There's a women's hockey league.
Right.
There are multiple women's football leagues. I think they call it lingerie football or something along that line.
Well, right, but they had some that were
I'm sorry.
non-sexist, right?
That was terrible. I'm
But
sorry.
they still do play though. I mean, it's
They
not
do.
just
They play
little.
like a flag football.
Yeah.
It's good.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think there's actually contact leagues.
Yeah, right.
Women's contact leagues. But really the point I'm trying to say is I watch college football or professional football because of the violence of it, because of the athleticism of it. If I want to watch a skill sport, I watch women's hockey in the Olympics, or I watch women's soccer in the Olympics.
That's very specific.
Because there are better skill sports in those settings. I watch football for violence. I watch, a lot of sports.
Big hits.
Right. There's a certain reason why I want to watch it. I don't care to watch an integrated football game, and for a lot of reasons. One, just because they made a big deal about it.
Right, there's a gimmick.
Who gives a shit? I mean, at the end of the day, right? The team
There
still
was a movie
sucks.
about it years ago, right?
Right. Now, if she kicks a 66-yard field goal, then I'm impressed.
Right.
But if she wants to impress me, go out there and play linebacker. Go play middle linebacker and thump something.
No, I mean, it's more or less, I would say,
That's murder.
if you are able to
Is it?
try out and earn that spot instead of it being a gimmick thing,
Right.
then it's there.
Absolutely right.
If you're gonna play the whole season there, credit for that. If you're gonna come in for one game to do this, or a couple of games, just because things are over, it's.
Or to break a record.
Right, it just becomes one of those,
You're always going to be a
we
gimmick.
really have a hard time with this, especially when, the state of Idaho came out with the transgender sports, right? So if I'm a guy and I want to be a woman, I should be able to compete in women's sports.
No.
And that's really, I think that's the main reason that Boise lost the Final Four. The pre-games for those were coming in and they decided that became a big issue.
Good riddance.
And it was like, really? Because to some of these ladies who have gone out of their way, put in their time, put in their effort, are going to come into a guy and regardless, you can say what you want. Men are inherently stronger than women in some aspects.
So anybody
Being fair is the thing, right?
anybody in beer league sports that complains about Idaho not allowing transgender athletes to
Right.
compete can just shut up. Because how many times have you seen somebody complain or call a forfeit in beer league sports because they're having to play somebody who's better than them? Well, hello, these males that identify as women have an inherent advantage
Right.
in these sports. Their their bone structure, everything
I
is.
think I might be
I'm-
hallucinating.
I'm on Joe Rogan's side when it comes to this.
So
Yeah, it takes me back to even, when I was in high school and wrestling. You had a couple of girls who would come out in the wrestling and you get to the tournaments and some of those guys, when they found out they were facing a girl, they forfeited. They weren't gonna do it.
Well, and if you want to take sex completely out of this, personally, I think in college football, that quarterbacks aren't even football players anymore.
Well, yeah, the rules are changing to protect, so much protection.
I just, that's so, and when you brush up against a kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
I have an issue with us trying to neutralize gender, and I think that's what is going on now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into the politics of it, but certainly in sports, there needs to be a clear distinction between men's and women's sports. They don't work as integrated sports. They just don't. Look, Julie Foudy, who played for the U.S. women's soccer team, has a hell of a leg, and she's shown that she can kick field goals of 50 yards. And great, I have no issue with that. If you want to try out for a men's football team and be the kicker, super. I don't care if you get a vagina or a penis or whatever, you're a football player. And the fact that we politicize that for forever is bullshit to me. It's a disservice to the team. It's a disservice to the player. It's like this, and I'm gonna bring this up, and I don't want to, but I'm going to. It's like this Elliot Page thing that's out there now.
Okay.
I don't give a flying fuck what you are. You want to be trans? Knock yourself out. The fact that it's the top story on Yahoo makes me want to puke. I don't understand why I should care. I don't. Are you a good actor, actress, whatever you want to be called now? Yeah, be that.
Yeah.
Who cares what your sexuality is? My question really is what's going to happen to season 3 of the Umbrella Academy?
Oh, yeah.
You're a woman in that show. Are you going to play a woman? You're an actor, so it shouldn't be an issue, right? But that's the kind of problem I have. So anyway, I'll
Not to mention.
I think he said he would.
Yeah,
He
sorry.
would act that out, but.
Not to mention, she's totally culturally appropriating my gender and I don't like it.
So anyway, so I want to spin off of this craziness before we get a whole lot of hate mail, because that's going to happen. But, I think if we spin into the,
Hang on, brother.
Jumped up to 14 viewers.
we spin into the boxing match that happened last weekend. So I watched it. A buddy of mine got the fights and we watched it. So I watched all the fights.
I feel like Tyson punched me in the stomach.
Yeah, the first couple,
There
there was a couple of things. Did you guys, any of you guys watch the whole thing?
I didn't watch any of it. I feel like
I watched the undercard. Like I said, it was somebody had it on
Yeah.
social media, and I kind of watched the 2-round highlights.
My
I
daughter
watched
has
the,
seen
there
She loves
was,
YouTube.
UFC fights. We bounced back and forth and we caught the Tyson fight.
You're talking about the undercard.
I'm talking about all of it. Right?
Okay, I did not watch the
So-
Tyson fight.
So I watched all of it from start to finish, and there was a couple of things that I was a little bit upset about. From a non-boxing standpoint, I was upset that we had gang members rapping between fights, and so and I couldn't tell you the name of any of these rappers except for Snoop Dogg, because he was the only one that I actually liked, because he was actually doing some old school stuff. But there was a rapper that was between one of the undercard fights. His entire song was about being a blood, about where his bandana was, about how he jacks people, pulls their card, you name it. The whole song was about gang life and him being a blood. And not 2 fights later, Snoop Dogg, who's a Crip, comes out and is rapping. And I'm like, oh shit, there's gonna be another fight, right? But what I was disappointed in with that, and then we'll get to the boxing in a second, what I was disappointed in that was my kids are watching that. And that's what we're trying to promote is gang life and that bullshit, I mean, look, whatever, I'm not gonna get involved in all that, but what I think is there was a bad picture. And then you put the Jake Paul fight or the Logan Paul fight out there, which was even worse. And then we made it into some racist thing on Twitter after that, which is a whole other discussion. But so I was disappointed in that. But going back to the fights, the first 2 fights, the undercard fights, were like a lightweight or a flyweight and not even a welterweight. It's unwatchable, right? But the flyweights are unwatchable. It's like watching 2 pieces of tissue paper thrown at each other. Nobody gets knocked down in flyweights, right?
Or a couple of record-breaking kickers.
Yeah. So, but the first real fight with power was the Paul fight. And,
Okay.
And Jackson.
He's a big kid though.
He's a big kid. He was bigger than the guy who was fighting by
He
at
was
least a foot.
190, right? Or
Yeah, those kids are pretty stacked.
180, it was 180 and 190. I heard that when they did the weigh-ins.
So they were
Name was
like 2
190.
different classes.
Oh yeah, I felt they were 2 different weight classes for sure.
10 pounds, is that?
Yeah.
What are you doing over there? You funny?
I just think it's funny, we're talking about big kids at 190, and my left leg weighs 190.
Shut up.
Anyway,
So
so
like a
yeah,
couple of you put together.
so he was clearly bigger,
Right.
and he knocked the opponent down 3 times, I think, 2 or 3 times he knocked him down. The 3rd time was
Yeah,
the time that he
it was
could get
third
back
time.
up from, and it was a good overhand right. It was looking down at the floor, throwing a punch. It wasn't a good fight. It was bad boxing.
So he sold farm.
But they weren't boxers.
They were all haymakers.
That's
I
not
mean,
their-
it
that
was
wasn't
all
their
lunges.
training.
No.
Well, what he did say after the fight, though, this Paul kid was, I want to be taken seriously as a boxer, and
Good luck.
I don't see how that's ever going to happen, right? I think if your 2nd fight all time is on a pay-per-view, you're not even being taken seriously.
I don't know who his first fight was with, but it was a TKO. His first one was a knockout, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know.
I'd
now.
say for a
I know he's
YouTuber, he's a
2-0,
pretty
yeah.
impressive fighter.
What's that?
For sure.
And he keeps coming after he gets stung, which is really hard to do.
Well, so that the dog.
But there wasn't I mean, from what I saw, it wasn't a good
It's like
fight
it was
just
those
because there was no setup from those guys. I mean, I don't watch a lot of boxing. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed when the Contender was on because you could see the house and you could see why these guys wanted to beat the shit out of each other. But this one, it was lunge, hug, and then get back. So nobody got into a fluid. It wasn't. I can't say you could call him a good fighter.
Is it Mayweather that does that? Is it Mayweather that jumps in and hugs and
Mayweather runs around a lot and throws jabs and gets points, and then he hugs.
it's
But these were all lunge and throws. It was just I'm hoping to hit something and they missed, and they were hugging, and the refs like, come on.
You didn't see a lot of combination skill.
No,
yeah, nothing.
No good setups, no good jabs.
So it wasn't like Butterbean.
It wasn't well.
No,
It wasn't a good
And
fight, right?
There's big throwback.
But-
Holy crap.
But what's interesting about that was, as a result of that fight and this Paul kid coming out, calling out Conor McGregor, which I think is just an idiotic thing to do. I mean, McGregor McGregor fought a real fighter, Holyfield, or not Holyfield, but Mayweather.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, and held his own.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how hard Mayweather was trying; he didn't get knocked out.
Yeah.
In that fight. So you have a guy out there who's a professional UFC fighter, who's, I mean, if you talk about egos, he's just gonna win every day.
He started out as a professional boxer.
Yeah, I mean,
went
he's
to UFC fighting.
I say he knows how to fight. This is not a joke for him. And
But if you switch the role and put him in his ring, it would have been a way different story.
Oh, yeah, it would.
so the problem is that fight will never happen simply because Conor McGregor is already loaded and he could make money off that fight. But what does it prove? That he's going to beat up some stupid, blonde white kid that, likes to talk a lot of trash?
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, when white
Blonde
kid
white
deserves
kids
it.
are cool.
Yeah, when a white kid deserves it, I
Well,
got no problem with
I don't
that.
disagree with that either.
Step in and just let's teach somebody a
As
lesson.
long as we're talking about fights, I just want to say I'm still fighting this chip. Holy shit. That little piece, that thing is killing my stomach.
Mine's about done. How you
Yeah,
doing,
mine's,
Benny?
mine's wore off that
Oh,
second glass of milk.
Automatic. You out there trying to figure out how to run the water?
well, I'm used to motion sensitive ones.
Yeah. Hop in the back.
High-tech world of Ben Briggs.
Yeah. Technology's a smart at your house.
Low rent motherfucker.
But
I'm feeling bad. I want to go to the time limit here, but I really want to drink too. So I'm like,
Full disclosure, Wood's house is way better than mine. But mine does the job.
you guys are competing for patios.
Right.
So, but I think the whole point though of this was that this dumb shit Paul kid was calling out McGregor, and the response you got was from hockey players,
yeah,
which is,
yeah.
A lot of people that don't play hockey don't understand what that looks like, right? So, all four of us that play, we understand what a hockey enforcer is. A hockey enforcer is a highly qualified boxer on two razor blades.
Well, it's a boxer with incredible skill to be able to do it on.
And balance,
On-
right?
yeah.
Balance, right? So balance is huge.
You're standing on knife boots.
It's tugging, it's pulling,
Well,
it's
you guys-
positioning, it's.
Have you ever got hot enough on the ice where you
Yeah.
wanted to throw down with somebody and got close to it? You realize how hard it is to keep your balance when you're seeing red, right? I'm gonna go after this guy.
I'm
I've
not.
had it once, and you feel your legs shake, and you're like, oh boy.
Yeah.
It's not instinctual.
It better just be a one-punch
Right.
fight because I'm gonna fall down after.
Right, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
even feeling my feet at that point. The
Yeah.
rage is just up in me.
But, picking a fight with a professional hockey player that is an enforcer is a really stupid idea.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
And I look, the kids, the Logan sisters, I think they're big kids. I think they're strong. I think they're young. I think they probably have a little bit of skill to fight. It looked to me like the one that didn't fight, was it Jake or Logan? I can't remember which one now. I'm all confused on those two
I think it was
idiots.
Jake. This was Jake that fought.
Yeah, so Logan, I watched Logan's fight that he lost, and he had some skill. He was the better fighter of the two in that ring. He was fighting a rapper, but but the point is he's going to fight somebody, and he's going to get knocked out.
Well, and if you're gonna call out a hockey player to fight, take the gloves off.
Let's
Do
be
it bare
honest.
knuckles.
All boxers go through that, right?
Do it there.
As they learn, they get knocked out eventually, right?
Right,
They-
right.
Everybody gets
And then
knocked
they
out.
eventually learn, right?
Well, and then you gotta also take into consideration that, he's probably an arrogant little bastard, but still, when you're first starting out, probably even when Tyson first started out, and yes, that guy could back up anything he said.
Yeah.
But you have to talk yourself up, right? You have to bring on everybody.
Well,
I've had
I can't-
2 fights and I'm ready to take on the champ.
Yeah, I don't
You have
remember
to
his
have
stats,
confidence
but
going
he
in.
had 36 or something like that, straight knockouts in the first round or something.
I understand, but you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where he probably realizes that this is probably a losing battle to fight one of these guys, but I can't say that.
Yeah.
I can't say, no, hell no, I ain't gonna fight that guy.
But that's where it comes in. If you think you're the baddest kid on the block, then you should text right back to Vander Kane and say, let's set a date. Let's both set a date. 3 months from now, you get 3 months to train. Let's make a date. Let's do it.
But if you're out there and you're fighting,
Right.
you just won that one. If you go out and you say, yeah, okay, Vander Kane, I'm gonna fight, he's gonna take you up on it. Conor McGregor?
Yeah.
There's no chance that guy's probably gonna come out and say, okay, so at least I'm a little bit safer saying, come on,
Yeah.
come get me.
You're right. Yeah, exactly right.
You never know when McGregor needs some money.
I agree.
So,
Well,
Yeah.
the amount of money he's gonna make from that.
Yeah, his
is
whiskey
big,
isn't
right?
doing so good.
There's not anything there, man. There's no money from him there. He's
He's
got to
been
fight.
struggling a little bit.
He's
Yeah.
got to fight
Can
somebody.
you imagine
named,
taking straight
you know,
skin from Joe Thornton?
Everybody's talking about, I'm gonna buy that.
Oh my
baby.
Well,
God.
it brings you back to Robin
My bones
Leonard.
hurt thinking
Robin
about
Leonard
it.
just signed a massive contract with Vegas, and he's the first one to call out this Paul kid to fight him. You know, and I'm like, I'd like to see that because I mean, I always thought Leonard looked like just a pothead. You know, that liked to eat pizza like me, right? You know, but
He looks like a Nickelback man.
he's a big dude with unshaved face, right? So I
Sounds
was
a lot
like,
like Scott.
you know, I was like, okay, yeah, right. So I was like, man, I want to see that fight. And then Evander Kane jumped in. I'm like, now I want to see that fight because this guy actually knows how to fight. I want to see him feed this dumb shit kid and then get his brother and feed him too. You know, because it promotes hockey, right? There's gonna be a lot of dumb shit 12-year-old YouTubers will be like, hockey, what is that?
Well, and you'll see a lot of hockey fights come out of this, like hockey players getting into the ring because they can't skate or whatever.
Well,
That's gonna be interesting.
here's what it needs to be, a super series, right? You need to get Kane in there and fight these two, and you need to have, what's his ass from Vegas? Who's the other force from Vegas?
Yeah, I know you're talking about, it was in Pittsburgh,
Yeah, wasn't he your guy?
Oh, what's his name?
Cook?
Oh my God, no, oh my God.
Reeves.
Cook's still- Yeah,
Reeves.
Reeves. So Ryan Reeves. So get Ryan Reeves to fight one Paul brother, Kane to fight the other, champion fights each other.
you know, no owner would let that happen.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
You know,
I
no
would-
owner would
I
let
would
that
pay
happen.
$100.
Better.
Do you
They
know
do
what?
it in a single night, one pay-per-view, and
Yeah.
it's fight, 20-minute.
You know
Two
why
winners
Paul
fight.
would do it though? I
Because
mean,
he's a nobody in that.
well, yeah, it's money.
Yeah.
Win or lose,
Right.
he's
And,
getting paid.
and it's notoriety, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking for people to follow me, that's all I'm looking for.
Well, and the other thing is, let's say,
One way or another,
let's say
you either
he
hate
goes
me or love me,
three
you're gonna
rounds.
start following the stuff that
I
I
just
say.
want to be an influencer.
Well, and let's say he goes 3 rounds. He went 3 rounds with a professional
Well,
athlete.
The four of us are talking about these jack wagons, and I couldn't have told you that there was 2 of them 4 days ago. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
I had no idea there was 2 of them.
I didn't know.
I'm disappointed there are 2 of them. But, you know, anyway, so,
I
but-
probably heard it in passing, one of the kids,
Yeah,
one
right.
way or another, but
yeah.
it doesn't register, I'm like, eh.
Yeah, who?
No.
Yeah. But the second, the headline fight of the night, the Tyson fight, was actually not a bad fight. I mean,
No.
you know, Roy Jones is 51,
Was it a
Tyson's
draw?
53. Well, it wasn't a draw. They called it a draw, but
Right.
Tyson
Tyson
kicked the
landed
shit out of
a
Roy
lot,
Jones
yeah.
that fight. Jones did his look away jab,
Yeah,
jab,
but Tyson,
you know, and ran.
Jones
Tyson's
was
a
lucky to not
heavyweight
get knocked
fighter
out.
too. And
Jones
isn't
was lucky to
Jones a
not get-
middleweight or?
So
Oh, shit.
Jones was the
Okay.
heavyweight champion at one point, but he fought a nobody, he fought a scrub. He was the
Oh.
light heavyweight champion, the heavyweight champion, and the welterweight champion.
Oh.
They both showed they still had skills, they still had the defense, the feet.
But Tyson wanted to as well, I mean, he really wanted.
Well, Tyson said he lost 100 pounds for that.
100 pounds to fight that, and he still looked. I would want to get hit by that dude.
So,
Well, those body punches that went in there were solid. I mean,
Well,
they looked like they hurt.
I think that's what a YouTuber is going to run into when you feel a punch that's thrown by a professional hockey player. It just lands heavier.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't,
What I'd be interested to
It's
see
gonna
is,
take your desire to fight right out of you.
yeah.
I'd be interested to see if Evander Kane throws a single body punch or a jab, right? There
Well,
might be-
it'd be a different,
You probably wouldn't
It's going straight to the head.
consideration, it would still be a different fight for an NHL player, because
Sure.
you're used to grabbing, right?
Yeah,
Grabbing and pulling, I'm gonna
Yeah.
pull you right into my, and you're not doing that here, you gotta,
yeah, you get, there's time.
it's that, yeah, you gotta back off, so
yeah.
it'd still be different for them, but
But you can
you're still
reign,
get your ass emptied by an NHL player.
Yeah.
he can reign some
As
overheads.
a guy that doesn't really
I
fight.
can guarantee you the enforcers in the NHL have all done boxing.
They do it
have
now.
been in the ring,
Yeah,
they have worked with boxing coaches, they know how to, where to place the punches.
Yeah, I think it's a part of their training.
Yeah, it's one of the most basic things they do. I think if you were to look at any of the podcasts with like Tony Twist and those guys, that's all they talk about is how they had to go through boxing training. You know, I think Probert, it was like one of the few that didn't, right? Because he was just insane, right?
Yeah, that dude,
You know.
God, there's, you didn't know.
He just wanted straight anger.
Just, there was nothing in his skull. He just
I
could hit him and
think
it was
he
like,
had plenty of experience just street fighting or, growing up.
well,
or
drugs
something.
made him numb to a lot of stuff. So,
Cocaine's crazy.
Good, good shit, man.
So I think
All right, what's the next topic?
And I think Tyson did a great job. He promoted his 420 ranch by saying he smoked weed right before the fight, and he did well.
That was before when he said that?
You know,
He said it
it comes down to making money.
He needs it.
Well, that's what everybody's gonna do, I mean, if I could make it without fighting, I'd do it.
We were looking up his finances, and he made like some ridiculous like $580 million or something throughout his career. His net value is worth like $3 million.
Who's this?
Tyson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he bought
Oh,
tigers.
Blues.
Yeah, keep buying tigers.
Yeah,
Stupid
he blew
shit.
through cocaine and hookers like nobody's business.
Right.
He's got a massive, he's got a massive.
Apparently that's
marijuana
easy to
range.
do in Vegas.
Yeah, he's got the Tyson Ranch. It's 400
Haters gonna hate.
acres in California. 420?
420 acres in California.
Technically, it's 419 when they measure
What
it,
are
but they
his
call it
fucking
420
taxes?
just to make it.
I didn't realize
You
he
could
was
blow
like
through that
big
big
into
millions in taxes alone.
Didn't realize he was like a Snoop Dogg, Willie Nelson type of guy.
Yeah, as soon as
Ricky
marijuana,
Williams.
as soon
Ricky Williams.
as medical
Well,
grade
Puff Dave.
marijuana started to be a real thing,
Love
He
Willie
he
Nelson.
jumped right on it and he bought a big chunk of land with one of his friends or investors. Said, "Hey, you need to do this." I mean, if nothing else, it'll cut down how much money you're spending on your own product.
No kidding.
Right? So
No kidding. What do you got next, boss?
Well, so do we want to, so the question really I have for you guys is, do we want to try to spin over to local stuff and talk about this rink closure and
Yeah.
Boise local
Sure.
stuff?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
15 minutes on it.
And the future of hockey in the Valley, because that's a big concern for me. I think, we've all had our shot, right? The four of us play beer league. We've gotten to enjoy it with friends for a while.
Gotten a lot of notoriety.
Yeah, a lot of them, especially at that table or in that seat. right
We've
there.
got a lot of deep friendships that run through the hockey league, right? I
Yeah.
mean, how many people do you hang out with today on the daily basis that you would call for a favor
Yeah.
that came from guys you played with on a team or, in that
Yeah,
league?
I mean, along with friends, I think just the hockey community in general. I mean, there's people that I don't even know that I would, help out if I can, you hear about.
Yeah.
This community that we have around here, and I think it's
Fantastic.
that way in almost every hockey community. Most people that I talk to,
Yeah.
most of us follow that Beer League Players Association.
BLPA.
A lot of those guys,
Yeah, I quit.
a lot of those guys. Though there's some tight knit groups out there.
I hardly ever post there, but yeah, I hear it's a great community.
Yeah, I think, it's true, the group in Colorado, I still talk to a lot of those guys and
Yeah.
we're still tight from a lot of that stuff. Hockey's, it's still, we've talked about this before, hockey's still the best sport ever, in my opinion, when it comes to camaraderie. I think that, you're spending so many hours together in tournaments, on the bench, afterwards drinking beers in the locker room, it's not.
The physicality of it's a big deal too, because when you get into, like, you learn a lot from getting upset and angry with people and then getting over that. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that on the
Do
bench.
you get over it?
I'm a pacifist mostly, so I don't know what you're talking about,
You develop that bond.
Pass a fist from that guy to that guy.
We have called each other names that you can't say on the podcast.
Well,
Really? You can't say some things? We did not go over the things that I can't say.
We actually, last time we got in a
I'm
fight,
pretty
the other
sure
team
I
was like, you guys are winning by 5 goals. Why are you yelling at each other? I'm like, you shut the fuck up too.
That is true. We were winning by quite a bit.
Yeah, but I think
we were going
I think it was
down.
Black Sheep. They're so surprised we were yelling at each other.
That was awesome. The ref was looking at the bench like, I'm gonna give you guys a penalty. Like, I'm getting tired of hearing this at the bench.
Right. No, what's funny though is, so you have all those issues, right? So you have all these things you do together. Multiple times we play on different teams together, right? But there's always this respect. I respect everybody out there I play with. I may not like them all the time, but I always respect them because they put on the gear and got out there, right? I respect you even more if you're a cock on the rink and you come out and drink a beer with me afterwards, because then I get to know you, right? And you still may be an asshole on the ice, and I'm going to let you know I think you're an asshole on the ice, and it may travel to the parking lot once in a while, but at the end of the day, we can still get together and drink beer and bullshit a little bit.
Right.
So I think there's a good group that does that here, and that's what scares me about what's happening now in Boise with this ice rink closure, this COVID crap. I've heard from multiple sources, there was not a single case that came out of the ice rink that was transmitted at the ice rink. That somebody went there, gave somebody else COVID, and that was it.
None that were documented.
None documented.
No,
Yeah.
there was one team that had a positive case like the day after or something like that.
Right.
So, but as far
Or you're
as,
talking about downtown.
No, we're talking about Ice World.
so
And downtown even nobody got it from the ice rink, as far as I
Yeah,
know.
somebody got it outside the rink.
A couple
and then
people
they-
did, but
yeah.
it was outside the rink. It was in a different scenario. It wasn't from the rink. So Ice World had no confirmed cases at all from the rink. So as a result of the city owning this rink and getting a gazillion tax breaks because of that, they decided that since they felt like they were going to lose money, they would shut down Ice World. It's an easy target, right?
They can furlough the employees, they can
Right.
shut the ice
Right, they
off.
fire, I don't know how many employees got
Reduce
lost their
all
jobs,
that.
but at least 5.
Yeah, right,
Right,
we
so-
heard there were only
Yeah.
a small handful.
Yeah, but that's, you
It's a
know,
lot
I mean,
of
if people
minimum
like,
wage.
That's
Corey
what they
Scoren,
can-
that's his job. That's
Yeah.
what he does.
Yeah.
Right,
But
you know?
then they can go claim unemployment and stuff like that. If they furlough them, get them out of there, give them an opportunity to go draw unemployment. They shut down the chillers, all that stuff for creating the ice, right? So there's a lot of expense around that. So they,
But-
Once it's up, it's not as expensive. The expensive part of ice is bringing it down and bringing it back up.
True.
So the issue I have there is
I
that
think.
it's less of a COVID issue in my opinion right now. It's an easy out, right? It's an easy out because it's an easy way to go, but it's less of an issue. It's a poorly managed rink. It's a rink that has rested on its laurels for a long time. I've heard multiple stories about how the city has openly fought people opening a rink elsewhere and saying we will shut down this facility as soon as you guys get approval. And
I got no problem with that.
right. And so that's the issue, right? Is we lose at least one sheet of ice.
It's a
if we open the
really,
facility
it's a
elsewhere.
really nice rink, but the way it's run, like if they threaten to shut that place down, they can get for all I care. I like the management and the way that place is run, it's just stupid.
well, they don't
Well,
manage.
You gotta take a lot of things into consideration with that too, though, right? If they shut that down, right, you know, we can say that here because we all play downtown.
Right.
Right.
But if they take away downtown, are you still gonna feel the same way?
No.
So it's the city got a hold of something and
Well,
they honestly don't care.
They don't care, right?
The difference is downtown league, they attempt to manage the league. It's not always perfect, but they try to keep the A players out of the C league with the exception of, you know, those teams that need developmental support, you know, that kind of stuff. I mean, they actually look at the overall team and go in the health of the team and try to not have that,
Well,
the jackasses that are just skating. through
it's
it.
not as much that, it's not they, right? The commissioner's not really all about that. It's more or less, it's to the teams, right? The team reps get the feedback. And he's like, it's the best, I'm gonna take your money and I'm gonna run the league.
Yeah.
You guys police yourselves.
Yeah.
And we have a pretty good group, most of the, you know, in our division, we're all in the same division.
Yeah.
You know, the team reps all are good talking to each other, it's like, I don't got a problem with this person, I'd like to evaluate this person. But it's, the onus is on us, which is great.
You don't get that feedback from the league in terms of setting like, no, that guy's gotta go. He's gotta get.
Well, I
a
think-
different team or-
I think Todd knows a lot of the players, and so he can be very open with and say, look, that guy's not gonna fly.
There's
or,
been a
you know,
pretty
that
good
guy's not gonna
influx
fly
of
and
new
see, right?
players this last season, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and we have a team like that now. where it's
And a
like-
couple of them,
Yeah.
you know, came into a league that they were like, oh, well, where I skated, you know, this league was much more advanced. Like, this is where I put myself at a B league.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently, B league is not the same as San Jose's B league. Or
Right.
whatever,
Well,
you know what I mean, like, there's a little bit of difference.
Like I went and skated, when I did work in Phoenix, Arizona, I would take my gear down there and drop in. You know, you wouldn't expect Arizona to be a hotbed of hockey players. But the thing
Why not?
is,
Why not?
that's a low tax
They
area.
have a lot more ice than we do.
Pro athletes retire there.
Right.
And pro athletes say,
There's a lot of
yeah,
money in Arizona.
I'll try hockey.
There's a
And
professional
hockey's an
hockey.
expensive sport, and you can't throw a rock without hitting a hockey rink in Arizona
Yeah.
because it's fucking hot there.
Yeah, so ice rinks are fantastic.
So that brings up a whole nother point.
It
though.
was competitive.
Well, yeah, I mean, that brings up another point though. I mean, you know, Austin Matthews is from Arizona.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the guy plays, you know, for a shit team. But anyway, so,
I heard he's pretty good.
yeah, it's a horrible mustache though. But
He
that
does.
Better Crosby.
Everybody's got a milk stash.
brings up the other point though that I've had a problem with.
Love this
Boise.
kid. God, yeah.
You know, Boise has
Bad
no
decision.
professional hockey support. So our professional hockey team could give a shit about youth hockey in the valley. They could give
Anymore.
They rollerbladed
It may have been
downtown
different
once.
before I got here 5 years ago, but it's been nothing. It's been non-existent since I've been here. And it makes me sick to my stomach because these are business people that know how to make money. If they knew how to make money, really, they would promote themselves to kids.
For sure.
Put some players out there, bring their coaches out and let them meet kids. This once a year, hey, we'll come sign jerseys for you at the ice rink crap isn't going to cut it, right? You know,
They need to be showing up to practice.
and I guarantee
Being
you,
involved with that.
I guarantee if the Steelheads were involved with ice roll and the youth programs there, that there would be a lot more pushback and the city would be a lot less apt to just shut things down willy-nilly without understanding that there's some push there. The hockey community is us here and some parents that are pissed off right now, but it's not the professionals.
I can tell you, I've been to a few Steelheads games, and the most entertaining part of them is watching the kids in between the periods play bumper pool.
Mhm.
But let's be honest, when the Steel, earlier on, like, let's go back 10, 15 years ago,
20.
still had maybe 20, they were much more involved. Like, those guys actually came out.
Birdie was out there for pickups.
Yeah, exactly. Bernie would show
And
up
he
for
wasn't
pickups.
out there running anybody. He was out there having a good time.
Right, and he would help,
Socializing.
they would help develop the players. They showed up to the kids' practice more often, that kind of stuff.
I don't understand why they don't
Junior
do clinics.
Steelheads.
Pickups, they'd come out in the parking
Well,
lot.
they use
and
kid
hang
clinics
out and
and
have
adult
beer with us
clinics.
too.
Well, and I would love to see an alumni association. How many ex-Steelheads are running around this valley still that could do an alumni association and have an alumni association run at least 6 I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Or even maybe show up as a
You know.
guest host to a podcast that's local. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no,
I'll
they
still
used,
work
to
on
be, they
that,
used to be a lot more active with going out to Ice World, being engaged with the entire hockey community. But what happened was they got rid of kind of that, what would you call it, kind of that baseline that they kind of kept like 3, 4, 5 players that were just their
Right,
regulars.
We're more
and
of
some
a,
other, and we,
more of a rotating door now.
yeah, we turned into a, let's feed the Dallas Stars or whoever our
Texas.
contracts with. Texas.
Technically, that's their job.
Well,
Yeah.
but that goes back to when the Stars
Sure.
came out 2
They-
seasons
they
ago
started
for
bringing
training
in a lot
camp.
of young
They didn't
kids.
promote that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody heard about that.
And I don't think they really wanted to go there.
Well, and
No,
I
they
don't think they have those young kids, they don't put them on the, as far as contractual or anything. They should have it like, oh, you've got to help support our junior Steelheads or whatever. You need to be out there.
It definitely was a part of the contracts in Austin. Like the Austin Ice Bats, they were all over downtown doing stuff that they had in their contracts that you could kind of tell if you weren't a kid that they were kind of there because they had to be. But if you were a kid, you didn't notice it. You just, oh my God.
Well, and if you're a kid, you don't really care if they're there because of a contract. You're there, you get.
You want a
starstruck,
signature,
you're
you want
like,
your
oh my
little
God, I
stick
see
and
this
puck.
guy play. He's, I want to be this guy at some point.
But I'd be curious to know what Corey's relationship was still with the Steelheads or whatever. And maybe, a lot of those players are, have the same issues with Ice World that we do.
Well, my understanding is I've talked to Corey about it,
Yeah.
and my understanding is that that the previous coach to this last one had no interest in having anything to do with local stuff. All he wanted to do was try to get promoted to the next level, which he did. So he was, for him, it was a job, and he didn't give a shit about the community. So I don't know about the new coach.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the guy do anything yet. So I would hope that some of the guys that are still around that have their names on banners in that building could maybe reach out and say, look, this town is aching for some leadership from somebody who has skill. Corey's not a bad guy when you get down to nuts and bolts, but he's not going to get them to change their minds. We need somebody
Right.
else, who's going to get in there and press the issue a little bit. What we ultimately need is somebody who knows the ownership group and says, look, we can make you more money if you just help us promote hockey. It's not that hard of a deal. We're not asking you to let kids in for free. They do it once where they charge them $12 to come watch a game and let the kids walk around the ice in their jerseys. But if you let them get some of your players to come out, you don't even have to put on skates. Come to the rink and just coach from the side of the rink. Just talk to kids. Show up.
Stop in the locker room
Well,
before
right.
practice or after.
Start selling your jerseys in the frickin' pro shop.
In
Right.
the adult league, we've had
showing
several
up
of
half
the
the battle
players
for
that
kids who don't have dads.
Right.
we asked them, how much for an hour of your time to come out and talk to us about, like, help us run a drill that helps us be better in our, stupid ass adult league. And they come out and they're like, yeah, you rent the ice and you want an hour? I'll put together something. What do you want to work on? And, we had several of those players come out and do that with us, and it was great.
Yeah, it would be nice, that's the other thing too, is it is a rotating door, and so when you show up to the game, you're like, I don't even know who half these people are.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be good to get them names out there. That's how you get a following, These young kids, they're like, oh, I want to follow Marty Flitchell, or whatever, right?
You get used to that watching college football.
Yeah, but how do you know to buy this guy's jersey? How do you know you like him?
But yeah, at least with college ball, you're gonna get most likely 3 years out of a guy.
I knew when Ricky Williams was a freshman that I wanted that guy's jersey.
Well, but again, that's TV exposure. So why isn't there TV exposure for the Steelheads in this valley? Because they want you to go to the games, and they don't want to put any money into the valley. I mean, you televise games, even AHL and ECHL have a pay-per-view system, but you could do it and have it.
Didn't they try that
especially
though?
now, right?
Didn't they try that though? Didn't they have the Steelheads on local TV and
Cable
ratings?
Cable One does. Cable One does show the game.
Yeah, it gets ratings.
And I don't think they get. I don't think there's anything out of it, but I don't know.
They show it after, right? It's not during the game. It's not.
It's
live.
late night.
It's delayed. It's like if you go.
Yeah,
to
it's like
this
local
game,
access
you can
television.
come home and pull up local access.
Yeah.
I think it's like
And it
TVID.
It very much looks like local access
and
TV.
And it's a low quality, but it's
Right.
the game, and you can rewatch the game you just went to.
Well, and the
And it's
the film comes across like
It's
somebody's
one of
mom
our-
filled it.
Yeah, but it's
But I mean,
like one of
especially
the-
now, right? This is in prime time with COVID. All these
Replays.
teams need to be figuring this stuff out.
Well, put replays on now.
Yeah.
You build up interest for when the season does start.
Well, that's why
The
Steelheads
greatest
aren't
thing the
playing, right?
NHL ever did was the NHL in an hour.
Yeah.
Where they cut out all the boring stuff and the commercials and they just pump out a 3-hour game in an hour,
Yeah.
but you can watch it a day later.
Yeah.
Is that where they cut out our podcast? And
That's actually before the game. It's right next to the.
No, dude.
All right,
I
so
miss-
I'm just gonna go out real quick here and say this bourbon is fantastic.
It really is good.
It is good.
But you can tell it's gonna kick you in the balls.
It
I'm
feels
just telling
dark,
you.
doesn't it?
Ooh,
Does it
it's got
feel
a
malty?
smooth, caramely.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
You had
it's
that
so
one?
good though. Woo.
it's dark.
You
It's
can tell
got
it's
a
gonna
dark.
kick you in the
Yeah,
balls,
it is strong.
It's a baby step finish.
Yeah.
What do we move on to next? What can we offend somebody with this?
Oh,
Did we really cover everything?
I think we're done offending people. We've done a pretty good
We've
job.
done a pretty good job.
What
Let me
else
look
do
at
we
my
got?
list here. Let's see.
Yeah.
So should we talk about, we did a favorite bourbon thing, either last one or the one before,
Oh, we did.
but we did.
We talked about it.
Yeah,
What is your favorite bourbon type thing?
Nika.
Nika coffee whiskey.
And I'm biased because that's my daughter's name.
Yeah,
But still,
it's a good
when I
bourbon.
bought that, I bought it because it had my daughter's name
So-
on it, not because
Quick-
I didn't know it was going
Quick
to be
circle
so good.
back, because I actually been looking this stuff up or doing the research. The gal that kicked the ball in the game,
Yeah, way to show prep.
was that was that, so we talked a little bit about the ladies in sports and everything, but really the big thing for me was, out of that, is that on the roster and she normally kicks for them?
She is
And it was
now.
a fluke, or was that we
Well-
did something to make some national news?
I think she was rostered this season from the get-go.
Okay.
I think this is
So-
the first
That was the first-
opportunity that she had to kick in a game.
Oh,
Because
she
they
was
were,
the
they
second
were
before.
down by like,
So she's not the starting kicker,
what
obviously.
was
She's
the
not
score?
starter.
They were,
Gotcha,
no,
Okay.
what was
But
the
it's
score?
been
They were
also
down
said-
by like 30, I
But
think.
as you also said, the coach got fired.
Yeah, it might have been a.
So
Yeah.
there's a new coach next week. She may be.
Bloop.
Right.
Yeah, but she's in the books. So that's, and that's all.
But
I
no,
care
but
about.
he's asking
I
if
know,
it's a regular. gonna be a
No,
regular
so
thing.
what I think, honestly, what I think is this guy knew he was on the way out. And he saw an opportunity to get this girl a shot in college football. It's in the books, it's in the record books, it will never go away.
But for
She
me,
got
knowing
fired.
that she's out there,
Yeah.
now I want to go see if she's kicking on a regular basis. I want to know. I want to. Now I want to follow her.
If she
career
doesn't
a
kick
little
this
bit. I wanna
week,
see how she
then you
does.
know what it was.
I
Well,
wish her the best.
And
I wanna
honestly,
see it happen.
if you're not putting yourself in a position,
What movie
of
am I thinking of?
harm's, Rudy? No,
No, Ireland. What's that gal's name?
Kathy Island.
Oh,
Kathy Island.
She was a
Uh-oh.
kicker for
The
some
bull-
football team.
Might be losing here.
That was it,
And
not the one with,
granted,
Island.
it helps that she's like super
Keanu
attractive
Reeves.
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
No, not Keanu Reeves.
She was a soccer player and she could kick.
Unnecessary roughness.
That's
Yep.
it.
Quite possibly one of the worst sports movies ever.
Right.
But
Right.
she was,
okay.
Where's he going?
Move around.
Bathrooms around here, behind
Yeah.
the stairs.
Yeah, that was behind the stairs.
she went to Stu University.
But Sue. But my point being is if there's a gal out there that has a leg and a boot and has that skill and she's playing college football,
Okay.
I want to see it. I
So-
will actually go watch.
So what
that
he was
game
talking
and see her
about
play
earlier is a
to
girl who
support
could
her
kick
career.
a 60-yard field goal. Who was it?
Nobody can do that.
Julie Foudy could kick a 50-yarder. She's done it on video.
So,
No, not.
so
Because like 60, what's the, like
But she was
NFL record?
she's a
60.
Professional women's
64.
soccer player.
63 Miami Dolphins, right?
Something like that.
Now I gotta look it up. So,
It's 63, 64 is like the NFL record,
Dude.
like in a game.
I am an idiot,
We're not talking
but every
practice.
once in a while I shine and I come out with
We're
a
not talking
stat that
practice, we're
nobody
talking
else
about the real
knows.
shit. The reason
In
I
a
might
game.
know that is because I'm a Bears fan, and they flat shit the bed when it comes to kickers. They can take a perfect kicker and ruin their career.
I thought, I could have sworn a Miami Dolphin kicker holds a record for like 63 yards.
no, it's a Denver Bronco. It's, Matt
Why would-
Prater.
Why didn't
Matt
you know
Prater,
that?
There you go.
I do know that. I don't know. I
Prater.
was
You
trying to-
looked it up.
63.
No, I was looking up Julie Foudy.
But
She's
63,
37. She wants to put on a helmet and play. I'm not sure.
I mean, as a kicker,
Men
why
don't want
not?
to put on a helmet and play at 37.
The kickers are so protected. Yeah, she might get bumped around a little bit, but you know the risk is fairly.
Yeah, but if somebody rolled over her ankle, she would shatter.
No, she's not made out of glass. She's a human just like you and me. She's made out of the same shit.
Yeah, but their bone structure is different.
No, it's not that. Well, a little
The
bit.
testosterone
Hips and
builds
stuff
more
like that.
density
A little
into
bit.
your bones. It's
Yeah.
Joe
A
Rogan.
little bit, yeah. All right. I will, yes, I have to support that.
Okay.
However, they're also more flexible than we are, typically speaking.
Thank God.
Women are, right? So they roll over and the ankle and hey, whatever, it's fine.
Boink.
They're not. Yeah.
So Carly Lloyd is also entertaining being a kicker for the NFL, who also was on the women's national team. She kicked. So Carly Lloyd, U.S. Women's National Team
Everything
star,
all right?
went viral in August after nailing a
Mouthwater.
55-yard
Like it
field
should,
goal.
but it didn't happen.
55 yards.
Yeah.
55.
So,
at
listen,
the Eagles training camp.
I don't care who you are. If you can hit a 55-yard field goal and you're in a position
I know.
where you're
We'll
not
force it out of there.
in a
I'm not
violent,
kidding.
in a kicker, a field goal kicker, you have to know they're not going to get into a violent position very often in the NFL. Yeah, hell yeah.
My body's going.
Because there are kickers that are missing 30-yard punts right now.
So,
shit.
so
Extra points are being missed on a regular basis.
right, so it's consistency that gets you the money, right? So she can kick a 55-yard field goal. She can also cook a 55-yard field goal. But she can kick a 55-yard field goal. She did it in Eagles training camp. Can she do it consistently?
That's called a
And then under
Freudian
pressure.
slip.
So,
No, that's something different.
so just to make sure we end this podcast and just offend absolutely every female on the
Boy.
planet. Juno.
Juno.
Speaking of Elliot.
Speaking of
let's be honest,
Juno.
right here, a little bit of boost.
Right.
Do you know why women have smaller feet than men?
Do tell.
I've heard something about this, I think.
It's so they can stand closer to the counter. There you go. And I'm apologizing right now.
We should probably wipe this
Yes.
podcast out of existence.
Thank God. You ever have that feeling where you're like, thank God I'm not the one who said that?
I usually have that when you're talking, but this time it was
It's
me.
usually-
Right, yeah,
So-
usually when you got bed, you know you're safe, right?
Yeah.
Although,
But I feel like we've been
trained
running
Barb
too
a
safe.
time or two, so.
I feel like we've been running a little too safe, so we
Yeah.
need to jump out there a little bit.
Yeah,
Offensive people get some credit.
you know what they say online is, you have your fans, but then you have people who hate you, and that's when you get popular, so.
That's how
Why don't-
that's
why
how
don't
I've
ever-
got that.
Yeah.
That's why I'll never take a chance of playing goalie.
Right. Why would anybody want to do that?
And Dan's mad enough all the time. I don't need to worry about getting.
Me, there's enough people who got in front of my shot that don't ever want to.
I don't.
I don't want people taking a shot at me.
I don't even try to score anymore. I just try to hit somebody so they move the next time.
Yeah, right?
I on purpose don't even aim at them. I'm like, you know
I
what?
just get to
You wanna be in the way?
Yeah.
Goalie's got all the pads.
Yeah.
I'll take the pass.
See, I do the opposite though. I get in front of a lot of shots just to piss them off. I'm like, that
Dan
didn't
gets a
hurt.
little mad at you blocking.
I don't give a
shots.
shit. That's because Dan won't stop it. I will. You heard me.
He needs something to pad those stats, right?
Yeah. Although I still.
Quit stealing my
Although
thunder.
Dan's pretty legit. I mean,
In our last
Dan's
game,
great goal.
Yeah, I feel like the last thing we should do on this is
Yes?
piss off our goalie.
Yeah, that's all right.
Well, that's because our goalie is fantastic and we're not like mad. But
Man, your goalie's
Scott.
already pissed.
God knows how to make him mad. He just,
Yeah.
You know when I took the puck away from him, he's mad.
oh,
He's like, why'd you touch it?
what?
Because it was 25 feet out from the
He's
net.
a little bit confusing at times with the puck.
Yeah.
He likes to play the puck. He likes to make the passes, which is great. He's got the skill to do it. Shit, he can shoot better than I can. He's in full goalie gear.
Yeah.
But it's confusing as a defensive man to come back and know what the hell he's thinking.
He doesn't talk as much as
I was really disappointed with you guys and how you handled the chip.
There's
Why?
3/4 of the chip right there.
You didn't finish it? Give
Oh,
it to me.
hell no.
Well, you did-
I wrapped it
I
up
think I did
gently and
okay.
put it in
Give
there.
it
I
to
am not doing that.
I think I did okay.
Yeah, I ate the whole goddamn thing.
I hurt myself. It's right there. You just put it away.
Oh, is it in
It's
here?
right
I
there.
didn't even drink
I
it.
just
until,
folded
like,
it up gently
you
and
did.
put it in there.
I,
Oh, there's
I
something
drank a lot
wrong
of milk
with
and I'm
you.
happy I did. Thank you very much.
There is something wrong with you.
So I watched another
That little bitty piece kicked me.
podcast where these
Dude,
guys
these
are doing
things-
these,
These things cost $10 a piece. I'm fucking.
I'll give
eating
you
that
$10 and not eat it.
there's,
Because I don't want to eat it.
beans. I forget up there, there's like some spice, there's like beans that you can get and they're hotter each.
shit. Mhm.
Each one, you heard of these?
Yeah.
These people are fucking stupid.
I mean, it's got a cool package, I'll give you that.
Everybody's like, you wanna eat spicy foods?
My
I'm like,
wife works with a guy down in Arizona and he was growing like
Hockey
his own
chips.
ghost peppers and stuff.
Yeah.
And people would be like, oh, I want some, oh, I want some, I want some. And so he'd bring them, every time he came to Boise, he'd bring like a gallon Ziploc because people would ask him for them. And I was like, you know what? I've seen the internet craze and I like hot, spicy foods. Turns out I don't actually like hot, spicy foods to the level that you guys do.
No.
You know, I thought I did.
This
but-
jackass, yeah.
This guy brought those. So she brings them home in like a little plastic cup from like their break room. Like, here you go. Here's some peppers. Don't touch them. You know, you could just. It's like, oh,
Oh, I got the hiccups.
what are we gonna do with those?
It's miserable, because you're like, I want to feel better, but it's burning when you hiccup.
So I cut them and I just made a couple little small ones. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I just took a little piece and I ate it. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it like to
Right.
have killed me. You can't drink while hiccup.
Holy shit.
I ate a little piece of it and I thought I was dying. It gets worse because I did not think out my entire situation. And while crying, I'm rubbing my
Oops.
eyes.
Oh, no.
I go to the bathroom. I'm like, like my face hurt, soft spots hurt.
Oh.
My hands, it was like, oh, I thought I was dying. So I did not eat any more. But she brought me a cup of them. There's several in there. So I took it to a guy at work who says, yeah, I love that stuff. I took him to him. Same cup of
Oh shit.
pain.
Pop 'em.
That guy's like, oh, these are so good. If you ever get a chance, get me more of these. And he's eating them like they're potato chips
Yeah.
at work. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the level.
I just had my expectation reset.
Yeah, the level of my spice. I like Frank's hot sauce on my shit. Other than that,
The red sauce?
that's my level.
I
So
like
doing
that.
this, I'm like, I knew this was coming. So I watched a couple of videos. I was like,
The Buffalo Wild Wings we did,
Yeah.
or not
Those
Buffalo,
were ridiculous.
the wild, yeah, the wings we did. Those,
Ben's wings.
the last
What
one was,
were those? What was
oh,
on?
I don't know, he
Well, did 10.
he had like 10 different sauces.
Oh,
So they
okay.
started out mild and they got hot pretty quick.
That was the first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We were by
I think the one that got him though it was third or fourth to last.
Yeah, the
Are
last
you
one,
kidding me? It was like the third one that you had. And I
It
was
might have
like,
been-
all right, I need to check out.
I think it was the second to the last that got me, where I was walking around. I couldn't stop walking around. I was like, I'm gonna, if I sit down, I'm gonna die. It was
And they're on a
horrible.
wing, and the wings were cooked very well. Ben did a great job on
Couldn't
them.
enjoy
They
it.
were
Oh, okay.
tasty. So it's hard to just put the wing down, but it was so hot, you didn't want to eat anymore. But
That's the
it's
key,
wing, so you
is
want to
you
eat.
make the sauce so good that you can't put it down, but it's still fucking hot.
Well, the problem is that sauces, you couldn't get it close to your face without feeling it already. And you're like, oh my God, is it actually on fire?
You could not
Well-
inhale while taking a bite.
Yeah.
Well, and there was one when I was mixing it, like it wafted up into my face and I started coughing.
It just went aerosol, and it was.
Yeah, that was, you're lucky you missed that podcast. It's a douche.
Well, so most of the spicy that they talk about, right, is the graduating heat, right? It gets, you taste it and it's bad, and then it's hot, and then like, it's getting hotter, and then it's hotter, and it's like, it just is there.
This one's
it's there,
stuck on
it's
both
hot.
sides of my tongue. The sides of my tongue were.
But
on
it
fire.
didn't seem to graduate. You just tasted it,
It was
and it
just
was
hot.
hot.
Yeah.
Right there, flat. It was just like, yeah, I got that too. But it didn't seem to last too terribly long for the spices. It was like probably 10 minutes out, and then the hotness right goes out. I was like, oh, my tongue is, I can actually feel it again.
Yeah, but, you know, when your lips are already chapped and starting to split from doing that, I'm like, oh my.
When
my
you're crying
body's
within 30
rejecting.
seconds, it's a good indicator it's hot.
Yeah, yeah.
I would-
I have no idea. When I don't eat this shit, it's hot. And Ben's like, you're crying. I'm like, because it's hot.
It's
And
hot.
I've
Not
never
that
had
it's a
my
painful
knees are-
thing. It's just, hey, what the hell?
I've never had my
My body's
teeth
screaming.
sweat before, My teeth were sweating. It was
I'm
like,
fearing when this thing passes, that's what I'm afraid of. That's the deal that I have with my asshole, that I don't eat that stuff.
That burning ring of fire.
Oh, goddamn, right? This is gonna hurt.
it gets hotter on the way through. It picks up steam somehow.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's always hotter
Just
on the
really
way.
sensitive back there.
Okay, James does get affected by this stuff a little more than the rest of us, and I feel bad about that, but it
Dude,
also makes it
really?
entertaining.
You're not, he doesn't bother you at all.
The habanero pizzas? Oh, man. Like, I love those things.
Yeah?
I can go get one, and I'm like, oh, my goodness, that's hot. A two, holy shit. What did we eat?
We had
Three?
we had a.
Well, you had one.
Oh, they have levels?
No, we did not.
That's their level.
We didn't have.
Oh, no, we had a level
two.
two.
I think we had a two. Yeah.
Two. And, oh, my goodness, I think.
Is it just the amount of peppers they put on it?
No, so
Yes.
four they put ghost pepper on their sauce.
It's
There's
ghost pepper
sauce,
sauce
yeah,
on
there's
top of
sauce
all the
on top of it.
habanero. But a
That
three,
That shit just bonds up and your stomach's just not out.
but to give you an idea, because my work bought me a personal pen number 3 for my birthday. And
They
it,
don't like you or what?
no,
There's
because
no
I said I
question.
could do it. But it's the amount of habaneros that are on it, it looks like cheese.
Okay.
You don't realize, it looks like cheddar cheese. You're just like, it's orange. It's like, cool. You just grab it and you're just like, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
I have an email that I've shown these guys. I have an email from my old boss. I brought one in one day just to share with the company.
Okay.
And I cut it into 1 inch by 1 inch squares. And I put it on a plate and I
So you
offered it.
really can't identify what the hell you're getting into.
So some people turned it down because they'd heard about it, and some people took it. Well, my boss took it, and it turns out he took it right before a meeting. And he thought, 1 inch by 1 inch square, what's it gonna do? Pops it in, starts eating it, and immediately he's like, oh my God.
I hate you.
And so one of the other people in the meeting actually ate a square of it too. And they were like, this is unreal. I can't understand what's going on right now. So he left and he went to his church because his church had a thing where they were building a partition in their church.
Yeah.
So he wrote me this email about what his evening was like from the point that he left work.
It's so funny.
It's actually hanging up at the Flying Pie Pizza on State Street. They have his email on the wall
Oh, do they?
of what he experienced going through it, and
That's a pretty good story.
it's graphic.
Should probably call out our other sponsor here that
Oh yeah, Arctic King.
Arctic King sponsor a little bit of this tonight.
Yeah, if you like hockey garb, the logo has gotten super sweet. We'll show you.
Just
I-
legit.
Super sweet.
I know somebody in
Very
the
legit.
company, so I got a free hat. And there's the logo. It's pretty dope. I'm a huge fan. So
It's all Facebook sales now. That's all we're
Is
doing. Yeah. All Facebook.
That's still a thing.
I only go to Facebook when I want to stir.
oh yeah, the kids are all doing the Facebook. Wait, no, it's just
No.
adults now.
No, it's yeah.
The kids are doing the Insta,
It's the best place to argue about
Snapchat.
No,
politics.
it's TikTok. now.
Snapchat.
TikTok.
TikTok's the way to do it.
yeah.
TikTok.
I know none of the dances, but my daughter does.
Thanks,
My daughter knows a couple of them.
You better learn.
Right.
Yep.
Daddy, daughter dances, you
I'm not
better.
a social media expert by any means.
Speaking of daughter dances, those have to be one of the most uncomfortable events on the face of the
A
planet.
lot of Joe Bidens there.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
It is awful.
I understand. I have 2 daughters.
But you do it.
And
You
Yep.
do it because they're just so,
that's it.
they want to show off their dad, and when does a 50-year-old burnout, useless son of a bitch get to be shown off? So you might as well do
I
it.
didn't know where you were gonna go with that comment, so.
Like, woo.
Like I
Hold
said,
on.
Dave to the young girls, I was like, well.
My daughter's like,
Let's
hey,
edit this out.
hey, Alexa,
Washington,
my
D.C.
dad. So,
It's a hardcore. Let me see one of your fingers.
No, originally the guy pulled out a penny. and
Hard,
cut it
hard,
in half.
awesome. It's like-
The guy cut a penny in half with those scissors.
Oh, I
yeah,
believe
those are technical.
I like that you can also stab somebody with 2 hands.
Mhm.
So
Man, you really broke that down quick.
I do not
I have one.
dick around when it comes to
It's
sharp stuff.
Similar but
And
different.
when I say that, my
He's in the
wife
medical
does.
field, he's gotta know these things.
She likes to have
Let me see your prostate.
Yeah, when I picked those out of the drawer, I was like, well, okay, these are next level. Because we
There's
get,
nutritional facts.
What? How much weight did I lose by eating?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I only ate
None, 30 calories.
If you were a cat, you'd only
that
have
comes
one life
tomorrow.
all this weight. There's no doubt. Oh, that shit
Well,
hurt.
there's no total sugar in there, so that's
Thank God you told me you
diabetic
didn't
approved.
finish that. I would have been heartbroken if you'd thrown that out.
Lukewarm,
Oh, no, I was gonna try to
sunflower,
talk the wife into eating it.
Oh,
Carolina
sorry.
Reaper,
No, that's perfect,
scorpion,
because
chili
she would
pepper,
not have
sea
ate it.
salt.
Oh,
And then
okay.
she'd have been mad.
That's what I
later.
tasted.
Oh,
So
okay.
you saved me from getting.
All right.
Yeah.
Activated charcoal. You know why the activated charcoal's in there?
Keep you throwing up. Yeah.
To make you throw up.
Oh, that's what got me.
That's why it's live.
Don't throw up.
Chipotle pepper
It
powder.
gave me the hiccups.
It's
That's
supposed to,
about
it fills you up. It makes you
Yeah.
want to puke.
When I eat
Activated
really
charcoal's
hot
supposed
shit,
to
I
make
get
you
the
When I was going back, it's like I
You
just
know,
felt a
it
knot in
will-
my stomach. I'm like, okay, got the mouth watering thing. and
So,
then it's done.
you know what? I
Like,
eat
crap,
hot
we're not gonna
foods
throw
all
up
the
there.
time, but the only hot food that really makes me feel sick to my stomach the next day is that habanero pizza.
That stuff just, it's a lava baby. It just-
Yeah.
It's in those intestines and you can feel it, you
Yeah.
know where it is. It's like, and you know when you're going into the bathroom when it's time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, oh, I don't want to go. So you like get
But
some
once you
ice
get
and ice
through it,
cream.
It's like, do you pre-wipe with Tux, or how does that work?
No, no.
You take a
So-
snow cone.
Yeah. So you go,
You shit through the snow cone?
no, you go to
You just
Fancy
wait.
Freeze. You go to Fancy Freeze and you get yourself a soft serve.
You get that new bidet installed and just turn on cold water.
Just turn it on.
Ah!
No,
It's gonna sit here for a few.
First of all, there's no hot water connected to your
Exactly.
toilet.
Yeah.
So
That's true. Well, but you can navigate.
you can have a
Do you have
warm.
hot water? That's awesome.
No, not the water.
Is that-
Never really put any
It's
time.
not a hot tub.
into
You just dip your balls in there.
Yeah, your hot tub.
It's called a girlfriend sink. No.
Hey, Phil,
Anyhow.
7.5 inches. 7.5 inches.
Well done. Well done.
Just want to make sure I put that on film because he had a situation where a elderly gentleman complained that there must be something wrong with his toilet because every time he sat down, his balls would dip in the water.
Oh, the distance?
So he went, I mean, your nuts are hanging 7.5 inches away from your body. And he's like,
Yikes.
Yeah,
But
when you get old,
when
shit
you're
like that
80
happens,
something
but
years old.
look
Right
at
by
the
my
bright
kneecap.
side. You know, when it's cold water, so as soon as they hit, they should tuck right back up.
Yeah, but, and I will say, 7.5 inches or not, if the background is Hawaii, that's not bad.
Gross.
And we're gonna wrap this up.
What'd you think of the whiskey?
That was fantastic. That one was pretty good. I'm not really. It was good. That one was really good. I like that one, but that one overdid it.
We should probably stop that because I don't want everything on video
Right.
because he'll keep that shit rolling.
I do.